Hey, this is Gabe Kea, and you are listening to Rock Paper Podcast. And I'm listening. You're watching it too, right here.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, hanging out on Zoom with Gabe Kea. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
It's good to be on. I'm coming to you from Cincinnati, Ohio. So that's where I am right now.
Yeah, man. Come out. That's your home. You said your daughter's classroom. You're sitting in there.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my daughter's kindergarten classroom. You can tell by we have prompted words. The tough ones, I've got all sorts of flashcards all over here.
Right.
Jump, look, all the simple stuff.
We're going to be testing you later, so hold on to
Yeah,
this.
good. I will be able to get all the W letters that there are words was our thing today. We had W words.
Yeah.
And one of the girls in the class, her word literally was waterboard. That's what she said. So that's good. Right? Good. That's a good kindergarten word right there. Waterboard.
Yeah. Right.
No, there's this girl in my daughter's class that she's always got like the craziest words. And it's because, her mom's just pushing her to be like smart and learn. Like for Q, she had quantum and she goes quantum as in quantum theory. And we're all like, what? This is kindergarten. Come on. Right. But yeah, so that's what I think that's the interesting part of, obviously my this is her first year of school. We've had preschool before this, but with the online learning, it's like you kind of get a window into everybody else's world too. You get to see what's inside other people's houses, listen to their parents fight in the background and stuff. It's interesting. It's a lot.
I saw some like meme on Facebook the other day. It was like, imagine being a 12-year-old girl and getting a look into your crush's bedroom and stuff or whatever, or something like that. And, like at that point, like whenever, but now it's like an everyday thing. Everybody gets to see what's going on in your house because of Zoom and stuff. And
I know it's crazy.
So it was kind of funny to think about.
It is. I think it's funny. And I used to do, when I was doing a lot of Zoom shows over the past few months, like live, and I had like a whole setup I had like a background of a brick wall just to be like, it's like a comedy club, and I had it out in my garage, but then it got too cold for me to even do my Zoom shows in my garage. So I'm like, all right, got to move it inside to the classroom. We're going indoors.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, man, this is fun because like the last time we spoke, you didn't even have a daughter. So like we've got a lot to catch up on.
Definitely, yeah.
I haven't seen you in quite a while. So like I said, it was just fun to have this opportunity to get to sit down and catch up with a friend and talk comedy and everything else you've been up to. Just released a brand new record, your debut album, right?
Yes. Yeah. My debut album through On Tour Records. They put it out and released last Friday, and it's available on like everything from iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. You can listen to it for free, whatever. I don't really care. I'm not trying to like sell the record, but just I want to get it out there. And after I've been doing comedy for now 17 years, so it's been a long time. And some people say it's overdue. I don't think I think I just didn't feel like I was ready to put together a comprehensive, good headlining, good album before this. And I think I've, and then you get to this point where I'm like, well, some of these jokes are so old, I don't even want to put them out there. I've been doing them so long, but it is it's a good way to have, the album's a good mix of stuff I've been doing for probably 10 plus years, and then some stuff that's just brand new in the last year. So not really too much topical. There's a few, subjects in there, but not, it's pretty much just my act I've been working on in clubs over the last, 10 years.
Yeah, man.
So
as you're saying that, I don't know, my brain went to like Mitch Hedberg on his album when he's like, I just got to tell all the jokes I know, and put it all on a record and stuff. And he's like, and now this one's going to be available in stores. Before I had to go and actually put my album in stores and be like, no, that's for sale now. It's like,
yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Alphabetize that. But
I was thinking about that with the, cause I'm kind of older and I wanted like a CD, like I wanted a tangible album. I even kind of was thinking a lot of people do like vinyl releases, but with what's going on right now and no performances and not very many shows to sell anything after, I'm scared I get stuck with 1,000 of those things. So
right.
I just was thinking I'd go to different record stores and put them in there, like in the record store, but just like, here, this is for you. That's like, I didn't even know I was doing a Mitch Hedberg joke. I was thinking that, but that's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Pretty much like everything's a Mitch Hedberg joke. He's got jokes about everything. He's like one of the
that's a good album title. Everything's a Mitch Hedberg joke.
Yeah.
What's your album called?
Right.
Everything's a Mitch Hedberg joke.
Yep. I think about him all the time, just like, even like going to the vending machine or something like that. And he's, stuff, whatever, just because he's got the joke about, the double letters, you gotta let me know about that. And, I pressed G twice and I got fucking banana, a Snicker bar or whatever. And he's like, I didn't know there was a, GG button.
I was just that. Yeah. Every time I see a red banana, I'm like,
hell yeah.
I think of Mitch Hedberg. Yeah. I didn't think this existed.
Yeah. But man, I really enjoyed the record. I was listening to it. Actually, I listened to it twice today. Really had a lot of fun with it. And like I said, available everywhere. You can, I guess, find links at GabeKea.com too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on my website. You can got it directly linked up to wherever you want to get it. So it's on there. And I recorded it last January here in Cincinnati at my home club of Go Bananas Comedy Club, and they were kind of I'm kind of just like a local headliner sort of thing. I'm not the biggest draw or anything, and the last few years I've been doing shows on Christmas week, which is a good time because a lot of people are back in town Christmas week. There's the crowds are really good, but it's kind of hit or miss. You never know what you're going to get with those Christmas weeks. And so they were like, you know what, let's do it. The guy that books it he encouraged me. He said, let's move it to January. Let's go to the middle of January and get you, get you a good week, and we'll record then. And it worked out. I had great shows. I was really nervous too, because now I'm like, come to my album recording, and then no one shows up. It'd be totally embarrassing. The club would be like, well, maybe this was a bad idea, But it worked out. The shows were like, I think 2 of the 5 were sold out. So it was a good time, and I felt very, very much like the pressure was off even after that week. But I had a lot of work ahead of me as far as trying to figure out how to get the audio to where I want, which shows I'm going to use, mixing it all together. And that's the thing about this album too, is it's not just me. It was like a bunch of local stand-ups and other artists helped me. And most of the people are doing stand-up, but they're also the guy, Clinton Jacob, helped me do the audio engineering for everything. So me and him went in his sound studio and listened to everything and went through all my material, which is it's so horrible to listen to yourself by yourself. But then with someone right there, as a witness, and it was tough, but he was encouraging. He's kind of an encouraging guy with certain aspects. When something goes off the rails and it sounds I'm like, oh, we got to edit this out. He's like, no, keep that. That's what you want. He's like, that's the part that's really funny right there. Mm-hmm. And he's got that kind of ear and that kind of encouragement where I might be more looking for the robotic, no, I just want the jokes to work the way they should. And he's like, no, it worked good because that happened or something, So it was great to have him in there as far as as far as just the guidance, just not having it. You can't do everything by yourself. It's good to have other people's advice coming at you. And he helped me come up with the name of the album from a joke that I do and stuff. And like was just encouraging in so many different ways that that's another person. And then the artwork was done by another stand-up comedian. The promotion for the show was done by another stand-up comedian. Like all the people that work at this club, from the door guys to the bartenders to the waiters, are all or waitresses, or the door girls. They're all stand-up comedians. And it's really like, it was really cool because I did an album release show this last Friday, and we had basically all those people on the show, and I kept introducing them for what they did. I was like, this guy does graphic design. And people were like, hey, can you just introduce me as a comedian? You know, like, you don't have to tell them that I work at this t-shirt shop that you work with or something, you know, but it's a fun time. And it's also, it's kind of a lesson in that sort of aspect of the comedy business. It can be a very singular, standalone deal, but you need a team. You need a group of people that can support you from helping you with, like, giving you feedback on jokes to telling you how to promote stuff. So there's all sorts of different aspects to this business that are, that can be overwhelming if you take them all on head on by yourself, So that was a good lesson of this experience with me, with making this album, was it's kind of the community of Cincinnati that I've really, it's kind of weird because then after it's done, you're like, I got to thank everybody. I got to hug everybody, like, but it's so true. And I also think, like, my way of thanking people is to do it to them sincerely and tell them to, this is how you formulated this thing to come to fruition, rather than just doing it in a post on Facebook or something, which can seem like almost, which I did too, and which I'm, of course, you need to do too. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying it's like, it's important. It's an important thing to reflect on that aspect.
Yeah, man, definitely. Well, it's cool that, like I said, you do have those friends to help you out and make it all possible. That's, I rely heavily on. I've had friends come, bail me out last minute with, T-shirts or whatever, different things that they're all much better at than I am and stuff. So it's cool when you can make those calls and rely on a friend when you need them and stuff. And so yeah, it's good to have that support around you.
Yeah, it is. It's very, and you don't really see it when you're going through it. Sometimes you see it later after the finished product's out, it helps you have that realization that, oh, well, this couldn't have been done if I didn't have, like I promote, like I was talking about doing the shows in January, doing shows like that when you have something on the line that you're like, oh, I really need people there. That now I'm like, okay, I got to think of a creative way to get people there. That's not just, not just a show poster or something. And I had a graphic designer that just made up all these different, like, basically like memes of me and with the date it was really a creative idea, and it wasn't even my idea. It was his idea. It worked out. It made me feel like I wasn't just saying the same thing over and over again every day, to promote it. It's like, you got something, you're switching it up with something, grabbing people's attention with different graphic design and graphic art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
There was the record's Dumber Than a Fish, available everywhere, like I said. But there's a joke, not to have you like recite the whole thing or anything, but there's a joke on here that really got me because it hit home for me and my family now. But my wife grew up in a house where you weren't allowed to say fart either. And it became the whole thing where you talk about all the different words. Well, their word, her mom made them say frog. That's frog. What they would refer to farts as frogging. And I don't know how, but that's, and it makes me laugh because I'll still like, we obviously now in our mid 30s, we don't say that, but every now and then I will still, just to make, because it's funny to, like a callback. So
yeah, it is like a callback back to like, especially when there's someone around that doesn't get it, and you'll be like, someone went frogging, and then you laugh, they laugh,
Sure.
and the other people don't even know.
All right.
And the joke is built off of people coming up to me after shows and progressively telling me weirder and weirder ones. And then even after this album was done, I got a message from someone that I knew in St. Louis. She lives out on the West Coast, and she was like, shooting bunnies. That's what my parents said, shooting bunnies. So I'm like, that's a crazy one. That's up there with what was the other, Fluff was one of them.
Yeah.
And I forget what the other one was. I can't even remember my own joke. You're like, recite your own joke. It slips my mind.
No.
But there's just so many different ways that, and I love, that's the cool part about stand-up too, is like, you do a show, you have something that's a relatable story from your past that is, and the reason why it works in front of crowds is because everybody had a certain thing they had to say, even if it was just toot or pass gas or the standard ones, but they all said something else, and you get to hear everybody's when they come, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that part of stand up too.
It's just, same thing in music or people connect to these songs because they tell their story, and same thing as you're telling these jokes. This happens to be exactly the same story in my house or whatever, so it's like, I was definitely, it makes it relatable in that sense where we can all connect to that story and we've been in a similar circumstances and stuff. And so anyway, it just really made me crack up because like they've got a bunch of different weird words for things, and I tease her about it all the time, and because it just makes me laugh. And she, for some reason, she used to call tomatoes Bix. No idea why. But I'm like, I don't know. So I had a couple. I can't think of them all now, but she's got some, very unique terms for some of these things. I don't know where they came from, but
I have one that this wasn't on the album, but this was one that when I was a kid, my mom would rip whenever she'd like take my clothes off. She'd say, "Skin a rabbit," and then she'd like rip my shirt off. And I guess you're supposed to like, you look like a rabbit, and she rips your shirt off. And we always would say, "Skin a rabbit." And I said that with my daughter, and my wife was like, "What? Skin a what? What are you talking about?" She's freaking out. And then I'm thinking like, where does that? Oh, that is horrible. That's weird. That's a weird thing to say. So those type of things are they're the best when you don't think about it until you say it in front of somebody, and they're like, well, it's just normal in your brain because you've heard it so many times. But then they hear it and they're like, I've never heard that saying before. That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, imagine as you travel too, like it's hard to find those things that work in, it might be a normal thing in the Midwest or what, whatever in different towns and stuff. But then you go, like you're saying, to Canada or anything else. And it's like a whole different group of phrases and sayings and stuff. So,
that can be, that from Canada to America, there's so many differences that basically if you're American doing comedy up in Canada, that's your act, is all the things that are different up here or something,
Right. But anyway, that one really got me. And obviously the whole thing's a lot of fun. And so hopefully, I don't know, I think that'd be cool though, man. Like if you were to, even if just did like a limited run of like 100 pressing of vinyl or something like that, I think that could be cool. Obviously, like you're saying, you don't have the opportunities like we normally would to be touring around the country and, selling these every weekend like you normally would be. But hopefully maybe we can do something like that, some kind of physical product on this.
Yeah, I think I should, and I want to. I just was skeptical just at the beginning to jump into a lot of that stuff because also I also made the album to hopefully get some play time, some plays on Sirius XM, which I have gotten on like 3 of the channels already. So it's already like, okay, that's good. That's what I was hoping for. So once some of that when some of that money comes in, I'm like, okay, now I can invest in some physical copies and not think about like, I need to get the money back on these vinyls or something. But I told somebody, I was like, you know what? I would, for how long it's taken me to do stand-up comedy and to get to this point of having an album, I would pay $1,000 just to have 10 of them, just to have 10 CDs. I'm like, these are like $100 a piece. Everybody be careful with, and that would be, I think that'd be a funny like take on it. Like I only got 10. It still cost me the 1,000, but I'll sign it for you for $100 on top of that.
Something
like that. I don't know. But that honestly, that was a painful decision for me to make as someone that's I'm in my 40s. I'm old and I don't even know how to download. I've downloaded like probably 4 of my comedian friends' albums, and they just like, I don't even know how to get them to stop playing when they come on in my car or something. They'll just like, I'm totally I'm like, oh, that's the worst promotion to do ever. I just want them to stop playing when they start. But it's like, I don't know how to organize my phone, let alone play a playlist, which I can. I'm getting better. I'm selling myself a little short, but we all have the ability to learn and improve, right?
Yeah.
I have gotten that complaint from a few older people that were like, hey, when's a physical copy come out? And I'm like, I'm not doing it. And they're like, what? And I'm like, digital download card. I got this. And they're like, no, I can't do that.
Well, I mean, I like, I'll listen on Spotify and I do the different things like that, but I like having the physicals, just cause I'm a bit of a collector, I like having all that stuff. I like, I've got a lot of, vinyl and, signed and framed on the walls and different stuff. And like, so just got a bunch of CDs too, but it's nice to have, keep the physical at the house, but be able to take the digital version, with me wherever I go. So
yeah, you're right. That's good. This is like my physical intervention. We need physical copies, Gabe.
Yeah.
That's good. I think about that. And I think of like comedians too, that I've done. I've been to comedy clubs and they'll have comedians like, the record, the album, the vinyl album up with the cover art. And I'm like, that's so cool. That looks so cool. Even if you got, just 50 of them or whatever, and you framed 10 of them and just gave them to comedy clubs and said, hey, put this up. If you're a fan, if you want something, it's better than a headshot. It's my vinyl,
Right. But you were talking, I mean, obviously, everybody's been going on, well documented to how crazy 2020 year has been. But yeah, like we kind of said something off mic about the death of, comedy and the death of live performance. And, but you've got to do some stuff through Zoom, and you've got to do some summer shows. You've been able to still stay somewhat active, but probably not nearly what you would normally be doing.
Yeah. It slowed down to like basically 2 shows a month almost, or 3 shows a month, where in the past it would be 2 or 3 shows a week, and sometimes more than that, sometimes less, but it's definitely never been like this, where it's almost like there's so much time in between each show that I feel like I'm starting up stand-up comedy from scratch again. I'm like, oh, this is like the first 5 minutes of my set is just like, gosh, just get them to like me or something,
I've heard some of those guys talk about how like they, it is kind of good in this sense for that, because like they haven't been nervous to be on stage in a long time. And then like you're saying, like, it just kind of, you get nervous because you're like, I've been on a stage in 2 weeks or whatever, so it's a whole, like getting your bearings, with you and stuff, and
getting your bearings for sure. I did a show where I just started talking about something I don't have a joke about. And then I was on stage thinking, what am I doing? Like, what are you, a rookie? Is this your first time doing this, Gabe? Like, you've done this, but you don't go on a subject that, first of all, no one wants to hear about. And then second of all, it was just something that was like in the news that day. And I was like, what do you think? You're just going to riff on what happened in the news today? No, you have written material that you came here prepared to share. And you start doing that. Yeah. That's just, that can be, sometimes it can just be infrequency of performance or just dealing with being outside too. A lot of these shows for me, if I'm performing at a live show, it's outside and the laughs are people wearing masks and they're seated 6 feet apart and you can't really hear them laughing and you can't see them smiling. So you're just like, am I bombing up here?
Right.
You might not be, like, so that's that's another tough part. But I have done some indoor shows and, they've been safe. They've been spaced, people wearing masks and everything, but they're harder to promote and harder to manage. I feel bad for a lot of these people that have the venues that don't have any outdoor options, so they're kind of forced to feel like they're like, I've got to, if I don't open up, I can't pay rent and I got to close down. So they're in a tight spot right now. And I have done a few places and honestly, I almost had a nervous breakdown driving to one of them because I was like, what am I doing? Am I just going, is this like you don't know what to expect. So you might expect the worst and you might hyperventilate thinking about it. So that one was fine. Everything worked out good. And I remember getting tested a few days afterwards just to be proactive and cautious and, thinking like, did I put myself in a bad situation? But when you're performing too, you don't have to be in the room the whole time. When you're up on stage, you're definitely 6 feet from people. I'm wearing, you wear a mask all the way up until the microphone. And then I usually take it off when I'm performing, but I've also performed with a mask on so I could get used to that. If I just happen to be in a situation where another performer wants me to wear masks because they don't feel comfortable about me, or if the venue or the management wants me to wear a mask, these are all things that I have to be like prepared and just versatile and be able to react to is the way I'm looking at it going forward, knowing that I want to continue to do shows,
Yeah. I haven't been to a ton, obviously, but I did go see, I think it was August, Brian Regan came to town.
Oh yeah. Oh, great.
And he played at Helium and I was like, I got to see that. Like getting to see one of my absolute favorites in a small club, like it'd be a really cool opportunity.
He's doing the Liberty Funny Bone here in Ohio coming up. I know he did the Helium in Indianapolis. He did another club in Bloomington. It's really cool to get a chance to see someone like him in a comedy club because you're not really going to get to, you're not going to get to see Brian Regan outside of a theater anywhere right now. But right now, a lot of those guys that are doing theaters are doing, some of them have tried drive-in stuff and but I think seeing a lot of people are coming back to the comedy clubs and just making sure that everything's spaced out and it's safe in there. So I know he's coming up here in a little bit and that would be, I've honestly, I've never seen him in a theater or in a small comedy club.
Man.
And that would be a treat.
Yeah.
I would love to.
One of the best. He's so good.
Oh yeah, he is.
And our buddy Bobby J. Cox opened up, and so it was really cool to see him get that opportunity to. That's
great. That's awesome.
You got to.
Yeah, Bobby J. That's a winner.
Yeah, man.
Sorry.
You got to share the stage. You said with a guy by the name of Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I got lucky. I got a chance to open up for him and say I got lucky. I met him last November and I went up. I was opening for Russell Peters at the Funny Bone here in Ohio. And then Russell Peters went out and hung out with him, I think, on Friday night. And I had gone home. I was like, after the show, the other comedians hung out a little bit. I was like, guys, I got to go home. I went home and I came to the club the next night and they're like, we all went out and hung out with Chappelle. And I'm like, oh no, why did I go home? That's the worst. And then they're like, oh, don't worry, we're going to go back up Sunday night. Do you want to come? And I'm like, yes, I want to come Sunday. Can I come? And I went up with them Sunday night, and we went to he's got a little place, a little party pad next to his house, and we partied there for a little bit. I got to meet him. We hit it off. He seemed it like, even when Russell was leaving, he was like, man, Dave really liked Gabe. Dave and Gabe hit it off. And I was like, did we? Yeah, we did. And then he sent me a message in early June, and he was starting to do these shows up in Yellow Springs. He had this idea to do like shows in the middle of a cornfield outside. And it was right after, some of the stuff that happened up in Minneapolis with, and it was, he had a lot to say about that. He had a special, I think it was like called 426 on Netflix, and
that was
came
powerful.
out and talked about, and, but I was there for that. He had asked me to open for him, and I did like 15 minutes at the beginning of that show. And he put on, like, I just remember sitting there I don't think I've seen much of Chappelle before, other than some of his specials and stuff. And I don't think I've ever seen him live. And I was just amazed at this guy that hadn't done stand-up for, 4 months. And he just threw this thing together from Thursday to Sunday. And he had basically was just like, turned out to be like a 15-minute bit about George Floyd and the whole situation. And it's a great Netflix special. It's on Netflix. It's everywhere. You can see it on YouTube or wherever. He just wanted to get it out there. And that's the coolest thing about seeing that type of artist work too, is like someone that just has something to say, and then he goes and does it, and it's raw. And so we did a show that Saturday night, and then one Sunday night, and then Monday night. And I remember the joke got better every show. And then he put out the Netflix special, and he used the first night I was like, why didn't he use the third night? He made the joke got so much better over those three, but that's just like, it shows like how authentic Dave Chappelle is. He's like, he pitched it as like, we haven't done, stand-up was dead. We haven't done it in 3 or 4 months. And now we're doing it in this cornfield. He literally put up the first set that he did, and it was raw, and it might not have been as punchy or as funny as the other two, but it just shows how that's why that guy's so great, and why he's got like such a keen, he's got such a good knack for stand. I mean, he's such a good knack for stand. He's like he's amazing. He's amazing to watch. And I was privileged to be around and in the sphere when it was all going on. So it was crazy for me too, because I didn't know him too well. He didn't know me too well. We just met earlier once, and he just knew I was a stand-up that lived in Ohio. So he had a buddy reach out to me, and I remember I was on my way to work, like dressed in my waiter uniform, and all of a sudden I'm going to tell my boss, like, hey, I'm going to Yellow Springs. I'm not coming to work tonight. So pretty cool, pretty crazy situation. But those things happen all the time. You get, if you're doing stand-up in the Midwest and you're an opener and you're almost available at any minute, and that phone call could come and you could be needed that night. So I've had similar situations happen with other people, and it's cool to be considered for that, and to get to share the stage, like you said. Like I'm hearing Bobby J Cox get to open for Brian Regan is very good to hear too. It's good to hear when buddies that get that sort of thing too. It's pretty cool.
I mean, let alone they got to open and share the stage all weekend, but he posted pictures of them going to the golf course together and golfing. I was like, so let alone you get to like open, but you get to actually hang out and, just hanging out with the guy. Like, so I was like, that would be really cool. I don't know. And I saw pictures of Brian Regan, like at Broadway Oyster Bar, he went down, I guess, got dinner and stuff, and took some pictures with some of my friends that work down there. And so I just like, I really was jealous that I didn't get to get my picture with Brian and everything. But
Well, okay. So when Brian Regan comes to Cincinnati, he'll come by the comedy club afterwards, and he's done it a few times. He buys basically everybody in the bar next to the comedy club around a drink. He buys shots for everybody, gets everybody shots, then does it twice, then does it 3 times, pays the tab, tips huge. Like I'm talking like $400 on $200 or something, where the bartender's like, "Thank you, Brian Regan," and then he takes pictures with everybody too. So most celebrities are like, I don't want to, but like Brian Regan sitting there. I remember I just said, why don't you just take he was getting pictures with everybody. I go, will you just take a selfie in my Snapchat? So all of a sudden my Snapchat is just Brian Regan going like, by himself, which I thought was hilarious and totally random.
Right.
And I know that like half the people on my Snapchat are like, holy shit, Brian Regan. And the other half are like, who's this guy? Yeah. Like, that's probably the reality, but such a cool guy. And he's a guy that has stories like that follow him around because he treats people so well and does stuff like that. It's
yeah,
really
definitely. Cool. Yeah. I the only time I've like been close enough to like, I saw Chappelle one time at the pageant. And I think this was like his first like big return to the stage after Chappelle's show and everything. And he it was like when right before the first like batch of Netflix specials came out, and he was working on that material, and he was and I don't know, they were real big sticklers on, no cameras, no no pictures, nothing like and he I think he sold out like 6 or 8 shows at the pageant in a row. Like, and it was pretty crazy to think about a comedian doing that kind of numbers and,
that's insane.
And he, but those shows were like really weird. Like they were a ton of fun. And again, he's a pro at it, but like there was a part where there's already like security, like pacing the aisles. Like you feel like you're like sitting in like a prison or something, watching like, like the guards are like, and something, just, it was really like very stiff. And then like, Dave like called somebody out that like had their phone out, and he's like, I see you with your phone. Could you please put that away and all this stuff. And they like grabbed that person and like kicked him out. And it was just so, and then like, it's just really weird. Like when you're in the middle of a joke and you call them out, that person gets kicked out and he goes right back into being funny. And it's like, it was just a strange, setting for a comedy, but it worked out. And eventually we, everybody had a great time, but it's just like,
well, that sounds like Dave at that period too, because he was probably like, I think he was in a situation. I heard stories of him coming down, hanging out at a comedy club, and someone took his picture, and then boom, he's just disappeared and he left because he's just like, I don't want to deal with people taking my picture. It's funny because I hung out with him for like those 3 days. I met him that before then. I don't have one picture with him because I'm like, I'm not going to ask for Dave's picture. I know I've heard he doesn't like it, know, and he doesn't. He's not that type of person to like stop and take selfies. But his wife is like, Elaine will be like taking pictures and posting them like directly to her Instagram. So it's like, it can be, there are people in the sphere that are like that, but then I get the vibe that Dave is definitely not. And now he just locks everybody's phone up. So you have to put your phone in a sleeve the moment you go to the show. So, but I understand when you get to that level of fame and you're worried about other people taping your material or taping you when you're not doing well and then posting it and making you look bad or something like that. There's all sorts of aspects like that I totally can sympathize with. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get it. And it just stinks that people aren't respectful of it to where the point to where you had to, kick them out because they stated 100 times, put your phone down. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, man. It's
maybe it's why I got that shot, because I wasn't in there taking a picture of him or whatever. Some other comedian before me was like, "Can I get a picture?" And he's like, "Get him out of here." And then I come in and I don't even ask.
Right.
And then things happen.
There you go. That's how it works, man.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Well, this, I mean, that's just really cool. I'm glad that you got to call and you got to spend some time with the man because, like, I don't know, he's just brilliant, and especially that special, like I don't know, I like that it doesn't have to be funny, like he like I had some friend of mine. I just wrote about Bert Kreischer's got a new series on Netflix, the Cabin.
Great.
Yeah, and
The Cabin,
I really enjoyed it, and I was like, and my friend critiqued it as saying like that the first one it was Bert, Tom, and Joey, and he's like, three great comedians, and I didn't laugh. There was no jokes. I didn't laugh at all. I'm like, it doesn't have to. It's not a comedy special. It's a show, and it's like, and that's what some of my favorite parts were. It's just them being real. It doesn't have to be hilarious every time. It's just three guys that are buddies talking about real shit. And again, that's Dave's like one of the best of that, like, especially some of the, obviously very heavy tones to the racially charged stuff. I mean, it's been a crazy year. But in the same sense, like, I don't need him to be funny every time. Like, yeah, he's good at throwing a joke in there too, but I love listening to him get serious about and something he's really passionate about too. And so that's what I appreciate, that he doesn't have to worry about hitting punchlines every time or whatever. And so.
Yeah. And I agree with you on the Cabin. I love the show, and it's not going to be, if it's those three guys sitting around eating that emu or whatever,
Yeah.
And they're like making jokes about it the whole time, that probably wouldn't be good either. It was just, the reason why it was good is because it was just interesting and different. Yeah. And also because of the guests that he had on there, like Joey Diaz is funny no matter like what you do. Just hanging out with the guy is just hilarious. And Nikki was on there with Caitlin, and that was a very interesting show. And I thought Nikki brought like the comedic element definitely to that sort of what could be like an meeting, Caitlyn Jenner meeting Bert Kreischer for the first time and not knowing each other. And I thought that episode was great. I thought Miss Pat's episode was hilarious because she's just like, she's the dynamic, like, grab the spotlight, don't, like the whole time she's on, and it's fun to watch her in that element too. So I was intrigued by that, about the Bert being, I love Bert and his show's awesome, but also all the characters that he had on the show really made for a very entertaining. It's not going to be laughs a minute, laughs per minute like a special, like you said, but they're funny. They're all comedians, and it's going to be interesting to watch, to see their interactions to different crazy, not really real life scenarios. They're kind of crazy Bert Kreischer scenarios. We can call them that, right?
That Miss Pat, like, I didn't really know a lot about her. I mean, I've known her name, but that was like the most I really like get to know her. And she, there was some really good ones though, when she said something to Bert about, where's the rest of your dick, on layaway or something like that. And like,
there's classic Miss Pat there. No, I've known of Miss Pat. I met her several times. She is, she every time you meet her or you meet people that have met her, you will hear a story about Miss Pat. She's dynamic is the best way to put it. And she is she's a star. You can just tell she's the kind of comedian that you're like, man, she's doing crowd work, just ripping someone apart. And you're like, and then you're like, she just made that whole room tear up at that shit. So she's definitely talented. It's amazing.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you, what else have you been really watching during your quarantine time? Did you get into any other specials or shows or anything new for you?
I'm trying to think of what I probably watched. 8 Unabomber miniseries or documentaries. I've learned more about the Unabomber being quarantined than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because we're watching this thing. Me and my wife were watching this thing about the Unabomber, and she's just like, he's crazy. He's a whack job. And I was like, look at us. We're watching a streaming movie in our family room. We have our iPads right in front of us. We have other electronical devices. Everything he's talking about makes total sense. He's gone and in jail, but everything he's saying totally. He's like, they've got us. They got us hooked. Yeah, I watched The Social Dilemma. That's on the Netflix. It talks about the social media and your experience and what they're doing with us. We are the product. When you become the product, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that was crazy.
The 13th on Netflix is if you want to know about, the prison industrial complex and how the Emancipation Proclamation turned into just making criminals slaves. The 13th is a very thought-provoking documentary, and it's good coming from my perspective of being someone that is a convicted felon and has been through the criminal justice system on several, as you can listen to my album and how many times I've been arrested. But that if there's anything I've learned that it is slanted to help out people like me, people that have money, people that can afford a lawyer, people that can get themselves out of stuff, through probation and different paying into the system and all that sort of stuff. Mini series that I enjoyed. There are a few, and they're not coming to mind right now.
Yeah.
I like Mindhunter a lot. That's a good one. It's a little serial killer. I'm like Unabomber, Mindhunter. You're like, okay, Gabe, I see a theme here. Okay.
All right. I've been. I just started Schitt's Creek a while back. We're in season 3 now, and I've been really enjoying that.
Digging Schitt's Creek. Nice.
Yeah, some funny stuff on there.
I like Letterkenny. People have that's obviously Canadian humor there. That's like the new Trailer Park Boys, basically.
Right.
Letterkenny.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, obviously, talking about taking pictures with fans. I think of you and your shirt swaps, which have, it kind of took a life of its own for a while there on your Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and you were doing a whole lot of those. And I was wondering what's like, you talked to even at the beginning of as with your album and how some of those stories were included in the record and stuff. And but what is like the craziest shirt swap story you think you have? When is there?
Well, I did one with Bert Kreischer, so that's a good one where he had his shirt off and I had my shirt on, and then we swapped like that. That's probably and also I don't do too many with like famous comedians,
right?
Or comedians, but it's a lot of times it's not comedians that that are household names like that. When you meet them, they're not. Sometimes they don't even want to shake your hand, let alone swap shirts with you. So I was like, if I did a Chappelle shirt swap, that would be probably the GOAT right there.
Yeah, right. Legendary.
But, if I could get him to get a picture and swap shirts, that's like a double whammy right there.
Yeah.
I have a few that are pretty funny that are just females in dresses and stuff. That's always the cross-dressing shirt swap is always a really funny one.
Right.
But I think Eric Anker is he's from Denver. He lived in St. Louis for a while, did stand up in St. Louis. He lives in Boston now. If he's still in the same place, I haven't seen him in a couple of years. But we did one that was he had his shirt off, I had my shirt on, and that was the original naked shirt swap. So that was a good one.
Yeah.
But that was a story that happened in Lansing, Michigan. I was at a comedy club that's closed down now. It's called Connections, and did the show. I had a Quebec Nordiques shirt on, and this guy was like, he's living in Michigan, but he's like, I'm a huge Quebec Nordiques fan. I grew up in Quebec. Can I have that shirt? He was like, basically like, I like your shirt. Can I have it? And then I was like, hey, you got a nice shirt on right there. It's a red plaid shirt. Yeah, let's swap shirts, but let's only if we get a before and after picture. So then we did the before and after picture. And that's how it all started was I did that. And then I had a story that I did on stage about doing it. And then how I woke up the next morning and I drank so much that I didn't even remember. And I was wearing some other guy's clothes and I was like, what is happening? Like that was that was kind of the joke that then I started doing that on stage, and people would come up to me afterwards and be like, "Can you swap with me?" And then I got into like a more serious relationship, and I remember thinking like, I better slow down on the shirt swapping thing. And I kind of quit it for like a little bit. And then after a while, somebody would like come up to me and be like, they'd either see it on from like social media or my website or something, and they'd be like, "Will you swap shirts?" So then I'd end up doing it sporadically after that.
Right.
And then someone asked me, since I've had two people ask me since COVID, and I'm like, I can't do it after COVID. That's bad PR right there.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to get COVID from doing it. But once I put it on the internet, everybody's going to come after me or something, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the way I felt about it or feel about it right now. So,
Right. Yeah. It was fun, man. It was always made me crack up when one of them pop up, and it'd always make me laugh and stuff. So I like it. There's like a little slideshow on the website too of them. So if you don't know what we're talking about, head over to GabeKea.com. You can see a couple of them on there.
Yeah, and there's you can go on a tab, and I've got all the shirt swaps that I'm willing to put on the internet up there. Some of them I'm like, no, let's not. Let's not do that one.
Yeah, man. That's I don't know. It's just funny what those silly ideas when they start, taking on a life of their own like that and stuff, where it just snowballs. And
it really is cool. And you can't really, like I said, it was a story that happened, and it just kind of took a life of its own.
Yeah.
And then it became a thing where if I'm not swapping shirts with someone, I'm not working. I'm not even doing comedy, So I felt like it was something that I needed to do almost like every weekend for a little bit. But then I just kind of slow. And honestly, when it slows down like that, and then you have people come up, that's what it means a little bit more. Or you can have a cool one with, someone like Tom Dustin, who I've got a good one with him from, he's a very funny Boston comic. You guys can see that one. That's on the website too. It's on the slideshow.
There you go. You will be coming to town here, back home to St. Louis. You said you're doing a little bit of CD release party or album release party, November 14th at Urban Chestnut. Right?
Urban Chestnut. Yeah. It's going to be outside at the beer garden. We're going to do a outdoor show there and kind of, just for promotion of the album, do like sort of album release deal there. I'll have some, digital downloads for everybody, and we can talk about the album. I thank everybody, a bunch of people from St. Louis that have obviously helped me get to the point where I could have an album to release. And I've got some friends and family that I'm looking forward to that I haven't seen in a long time in St. Louis. Hopefully have them all out to the show. And if you're in St. Louis, you want to come check it out, it's a good place. Saturday night, November 14th at Urban Chestnut outside in the beer garden.
Yeah. You got some other guys join you, or are you
there? Yeah, I'm sure. I would talk to Rafe about doing the show, and I don't know if I don't necessarily think he's gonna be on the show, but he's gonna have we're gonna get some people from St. Louis on the show, some people, but I don't know the lineup currently right now. And I kind of asked, I was like, do you want me to bring somebody from Cincinnati? And I think they'll just see a lot of people are looking for opportunities too. And a lot of comedy is becoming more localized too. I think the Funny Bone's doing that right now. They do a lot of local showcase shows where they'll have like 6 comics that are all from in town. And that's the same thing that's going on here in Cincinnati. It's just because everything's so different and so volatile. It's hard to fly somebody in, have them there the whole week and not know, maybe things get shut down from Friday to Saturday, and you really can't take that risk. So it's a good thing for local artists and for local comedians as they get more opportunities in venues and stages that are trying to open back up in their area. So I think this is part of that. And I look forward to getting back into St. Louis. I have a lot of friends and family there, just like I said. And I always love coming back into town and seeing everybody. And obviously doing a show is an added bonus. It's added fun there.
Yeah. Well, very cool. So I guess are there tickets or is that just
I think there should be, there should be tickets available. They'll be on my website. I've got my schedule on there, and you can link. I always have a link. Right now, I think it's linked to the Urban Chestnut website. But once I know how the tickets are, where they're being sold, I will link directly to that on my website. So you can do that. Go to GabeKea.com and always click on my schedule and click on whatever show you're interested in seeing, and there should be a guidance into how to get tickets there.
Yeah, man. Well, very cool, Gabe. This is I'm excited to see you, bud. It's been too long. We talked I think right before we hit record, I was talking about it's been over 5 years since you appeared on this show, which I want to go ahead and put it out on a formal apology, because that one was probably not my best. I feel like the show has improved tremendously since then.
I think I think everybody should go back and listen to that show. He's not giving it any credit, but we were in the Funny Bones bar, and the phone was ringing in the background. We had all sorts of stuff going on all around us, but that's
it's still fun to have that, to see where you've been and how you've grown and stuff. But I don't know. I remember I don't know if I was getting sick or whatever, but I remember you can hear it on the recording. I sound like shit. I was one of my very first episodes, recording by myself. I used to do the show with my buddy Chris a lot, so I wasn't as comfortable recording solo yet. Yeah. And but 5 years difference, I feel like I'm a much better broadcaster now and a little more professional. But so I appreciate you giving me another opportunity all these years later. But I do have a couple of questions I wanted to ask you, and then we'll get on out of here.
Okay.
What's so when you are on the road touring, when as you come in here to St. Louis and stuff, what's your go-to road snack?
Well, okay, so if I'm on the road and I'm going through St. Louis, so even if I'm going to Oklahoma or Kansas and I just happen to stop in St. Louis, I will always stop at Lion's Choice, and I always have Lion's Choice in St. Louis. And I don't think you know how privileged you are to have it's like a fast food place that's only available in one city. That doesn't even exist anywhere else. There's not like a Chicago's Lion's Choice or someplace like it. It's so unique to St. Louis, and I love it so much. I grew up loving it and eating it, and I have it every time I go back. And I also told Abby, or I've been like, Abby, you got to come check this out. And she hates it. She's like, gross. It's like raw. It's like not even cooked. And I'm like, that's the beauty. That's how it's good.
I think I had Nick
go to St. Louis. Sorry.
Yeah. I had Nick Vatterott on the show, a while back. And he said a similar thing that when he comes home, that's his first stop. He gets off of the plane, goes to Lion's Choice. That's, when he said that, that's when I realized I wasn't aware until he told me that St. Louis was, or Lion's Choice is only a St. Louis place. I didn't realize they were local until Nick told me about it. So
yeah, they might go down to you might have one in Cape Girardeau or Rolla or maybe in Columbia, Missouri, but you're not going to get it anywhere else except in that area.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you, man. That's a tasty treat for sure. If there was a Gabe Kea biopic coming out, who would you like to see them cast to play you in the movie version?
Probably David Beckham. I think just for, I know he's not an actor, but just to get someone that looks just like me.
Right.
Probably David Beckham. Dave Beckham. Yeah, we'll go with that. Sacha Baron David Beckham. That's who. Sacha Baron David. Just a British guy. Any British guy. I can't think of the guy's name, but he was in House of Cards. He played the congressman or whatever from Pennsylvania that got killed in the car by Kevin Spacey. That guy, he was bald, and he's in a bunch of stuff too. He was just in this chess thing on Netflix. Okay. I forget his name, but that guy too, whoever that guy is.
Yeah.
I had to show you what bald looks like. I'm like, this is what bald is. That's how. Gosh, I got to look this guy up on IMDb now so we can know who this guy is. I'm sorry, this is so unprofessional. Getting on my phone. It's like my daughter in kindergarten. She's like, I got text messages. Hold on, teacher.
I got to look up waterboarding. Hold on. I got to look up what that means.
Okay, I'll find this guy real quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
Well, I say hold on. You can go ahead. You can ask me another question.
All right. So I recently pulled up Toy Stories and I watched those and I was thinking about like if you had a pull string, what would a Gabe Kea action figure with a pull string say?
Oh gosh, what are Gabe Kea's cat? One would probably be like a Canadian, like, sorry about that, like a really Canadian sorry.
Yeah.
That might be one of them. Maybe trying to think I'm trying to think what my most annoying jokes are. No, I don't. They're not. None of them are annoying. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure they are. But yeah, I'd say just the Canadian thing. Sorry
sure.
about that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Just one thing. My pull string does.
I had a but. I mean, obviously, it's something you realize you say these things, but my buddy Ryan pointed it out to me about how like I start every show with "Hey everybody," and I say it a lot, and so then so he started doing like a Shane impression, and then like it just gets more exaggerated every time, just like just "Hey everybody," and just like stretches it out longer and longer and stuff like that, and so that would probably be mine. It'd probably be one of those in my pull string.
Hey everybody, I like it.
Yeah. What's so you got to we mentioned a couple of names, Russell Peters and Chappelle and stuff, but is there like a dream person that you would love to share the stage with or something like that?
Ted Alexandro is that's my dream, like want to work with guy. And I actually got an opportunity to open for him in St. Louis probably like 7 years ago. And I was already booked somewhere else and I was so upset. And I thought, well, it'll happen again or something. And it's not happened. He might be, he's a New York comic. He's been around for a long time, but he opens for Gaffigan. Mm-hmm. So he's closely, might be associated with Jim Gaffigan. So Ted Alexandro is the one that I've never worked with. I've never even met. And I'm a big fan of. That would be my Brian Regan right there. Bobby J. Cox. That's my Brian Regan.
Yeah. He's another great comic for sure. Do you do any celebrity impressions? But I know you squeeze in a little bit of a one line of a Trump impression on the record.
Right. I just do one line, one line. Yeah. That's all I can do. I really was big into a Trump impression for like a few months, and I was just doing it all the time, and it's really annoying to a lot of people around me. So I had to stop. So I don't have too many impressions. I could do like Abby, my wife said, she was like, we were talking how she's like, Jurassic Park's just so boring. I want to see when they actually eat somebody I want to see eaten. And then she's like, how about Jurassic Park with Adam Sandler? I want to see the Adam Sandler where he's like, skibidi-doo, and then like, just like dinosaur comes out of nowhere. And she's like, that's a Jurassic Park I want to see. So it's all the people that are like annoyed by Adam Sandler, and he's like, hey, stop looking at me, Raptor, and then, just gets eaten right there.
Yeah, let's make.
Well, Rob Schneider would get eaten first, and then Adam Sandler would get eaten.
You I just pulled it up a little while back, but they did like it's kind of a reoccurring bit on SNL where they do like the casting for different movies and stuff. And like,
oh yeah, and they had people. That's good.
And they did one for Jurassic Park. And well, like Bill Hader was like Alan Arkin and stuff, and like all these different, a bunch of these different people, and A.D. Bryant was like Roseanne, and like, you know, there was a lot of, you know, it was all based on people that were famous in 1993, and so it was really funny, like just to seeing them do all these impressions and all these different characters, but it is kind of funny to think about like what that movie would have been like if Adam Sandler was in it, or any of these other random characters that they do and stuff. So,
or if they felt like they had to put, so this guy's going to be the funny guy,
right?
Like it probably would have made the movie horrible, honestly.
Oh yeah.
If they had like the funny guy and they're like, eat that guy, like Dane Cook's in it or something. Dane Cook in Jurassic Park 2.
All right. Unless he was.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, unless he's the guy that runs into that toilet and then like actually gets eaten and stuff.
That was Dane Cook's. That was his 2006 or whatever. Whenever he just got eaten off of a toilet by pop culture. So I found that guy. His name is Corey Stoll. Is the guy that I was thinking of that would play me in the biopic. Corey Stoll. That's for the film nerds out there. That's a deep cut. You're gonna have to. I had to IMDb it to tell you. So you're probably gonna have to IMDb it to be like, oh, I've seen that guy in some stuff.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of those people. Like, you definitely know their faces, but you don't always know their names and things. And that they're always some of the best actors and actresses. But it's like, it's just funny how there's like a whole group of them that you're like, oh, that guy's in like every movie, you know?
Yeah, like, and then the way I was trying to tell you, I was like, he was in this, he was in that, and you're like, I'm not some IMDb detective, Gabe. I can't piece this together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Well, that's hopefully we'll make that biopic happen here soon, and hopefully we'll get you here in St. Louis again. Like I said, November 14th. Come on out and see Gabe and have a good time.
I hope Corey Stoll's watching this.
Yeah, hey, like, Corey.
That bastard didn't even know who I was. He wants me to play him in a movie, and he doesn't even know who I am.
I'll make some calls. I'll make sure I'll send him a link.
That's awesome. Hey, Shane, thanks a lot for having me on, man. This has been great.
Yeah, but this has been really great. I'm glad we were able to make it happen. And again, wherever you're getting your digital music and stuff, you can find Gabe Kea, Dumber Than a Fish, streaming all over the place. You can download a copy and help support this project. Again, visit gabekea.com for all his upcoming dates and things, wherever you catch him at a live socially distanced show and stuff. But yeah, bud, thank you so much, man.
Thank you very much. I'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.